What's up, everyone? And this is Next Level Thinking. What's up, everyone? It's another episode of Next Level Thinking. As you always know, we help you bring you to the next level, accomplish your goals, and much more. It's your host, Chris Holmes, but today I have a special guest by the name of
Orson Wells.
Awesome. Glad to have you on the show. So let's go ahead and get things running, and so they can know why I brought you on the show. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, of course, like I just said, my name is Orson Wells. I'm an executive and life coach, a leadership coach. I've been doing that for almost 20 years now. I've been working in organizational development,
Oof,
leadership
experience.
development, training. Yeah, yeah, I've got a lot of experience doing it in and out of organizations in a lot of different industries. And so I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of executives in a variety of arenas, helping them change their behavior, improve their leadership skills, build high performing teams, helping leaders become high performing leaders. And, one of the things that I really focus on is really helping people become their best, whether they lead teams, organizations, families, churches, whatever it is. I think that it's that leadership is so important
And
that
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm a strong believer. Like once you start being the best version of yourself and stop trying to be like everybody else, that's when you really start exceeding in life.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is around self-awareness and knowing, like you said, knowing who you are, knowing that you contribute something uniquely to the environment and getting in touch with that and then being the best version of who you are. I think that's kind of one of the things I really try to when I work with someone on an individual basis is really kind of help bring those strengths and who they are to the surface because that's what you use to accomplish the goals that you have.
Exactly. So with all this, especially with the internet and people able to showcase who they are really quick and things like that. And let's be honest, have you bumped into people that are kind of hesitant of showcasing themselves? Because there's always probably like a either getting outside your comfort zone or going against like insecurities and things like that so they can finally be the true or the best version of themselves. Have you ran into that as you train other people?
Yeah, well, here's the common thing, especially when you talk about like leadership development, and you can apply the same principle to almost anything you do. Your personality, who you are as a person, you bring that to the table. And so I can't be good at what I'm doing if I'm trying to be Chris, if I'm trying to emulate your personality, your style. So where I see people hesitant sometimes is when they try to be someone else. And when you try to be someone else, you're not going to be the best version of yourself. And then so you're going to be hesitant. You're going to be trying to strive for something that you're really not. And so what I actually tell people is that the more you can really focus on what your strengths are, focus on what you bring to the table, then that's where you're going to shine. I'm not going to shine trying to be movie producer and all the things that you do, all those different things that you do, or especially around the technology. I'm going to shine with my strengths and that's what I'm saying, where people kind of get uh, hesitant, confused, discouraged is when they try to be something that they're not.
Exactly, and that's why I brought up earlier because like when you start being the best version, I mean, being yourself, that's when you start living things fully, and that's when all the doors start opening up.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to add on to that, and I'm gonna let you go even deeper. I feel like people are afraid to be themselves because of the people they surround themselves with. So
Hmm.
let's say if they want to actually have these big goals or like want to try new things, and we all done it before, we will look to for the approval of someone who we're around before we actually execute it. When I
Yeah.
believe you should actually take the jump with a strong belief in yourself, and then whoever's around you should support or follow, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned personally in life is that it's not that the crowd that you're in are bad people. It's not that they're on a lower level than you or anything like that. They're just maybe different from you, and your dreams might be different, bigger, and you want to do different things. And so you have to get past the point where you're thinking about what would they say? What are they going to say? I mean, first of all, as people say, who are they? I think you always got to ask yourself, who are they?
Or
And
they be like, who
really,
are you to tell me what I can know?
exactly, who are they, and what can they do to you? Because at the end of the day, when people step out to do something really big, they have big dreams, they want to do something and be different from the crowd, because sometimes that crowd is your family. um and that's a tough one, but sometimes that crowd is your family, and your family has good intentions, but sometimes tradition and the way we traditionally think can actually hold us back from stepping forward into the greatness that's really in front of us.
Wait
And
a minute, you can't be
so
just dropping that kind of knowledge and just be nah, 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 nah. I think you need to say that again, because I guarantee you someone gonna watch this and they're gonna be like, is he talking about me? I mean, like, I want, but I'm always getting shot down. Like, I know he ain't talking to me. I know he ain't talking to me.
yeah.
So I
Well,
need you
no.
to say that again.
Well, it's just that sometimes that greatness that's in front of you, we're all coming from a family unit. We're all coming from tradition and the way we've done things and the way we've thought about things. And sometimes we're limited by that, but there's such a level of greatness out in front of you that sometimes you just got to break away from that and go get it, and break into the greatness that's in front of you. Because it's not that mom and dad, brother, sister, grandma, anything is bad or anything is wrong, or your friends. It's just that if you want the greatness that's out in front of you, you got to go and get it. You can't worry about what people may say or what they may say. And that's one of the biggest lessons I was saying earlier that I learned in my life, is that when you stop considering so much about what other people are going to think of you, because here's the reality. They're talking, you say, well, what are they going to say about me? Well, they're going to say something about you whether you're doing it or you're not doing it. And then a lot of times another dynamic is that they're not even talking about you. So you might as well go forward and live and do the things that I would say that God put in your heart to do, because it's there, and that greatness in front of you is worth stepping out to explore, stepping out in with courage, with confidence, and going after. It's completely worth it.
Kind of reminds me of, like, I was watching a documentary, and then what Tyler Perry was saying is, like, he was saying basically, your gifts will make a way.
Yeah.
And I really need people to really grasp onto that, because so many times we have gifts that are actually right in front of you that can actually serve the community, serve the world, and so much more. But we have doubt inside our head, and we don't allow those gifts to actually become larger than you could even imagine, because you don't really trust or have faith into it. I think once people start having faith into the gifts that you were actually given,
Hmm.
things will actually start coming
Yeah.
together piece by piece.
I give you a really good example of that. I started working in organization development, training, and leadership. I was probably around 25 years old. So, like 100 years ago, 20 years ago or so, or whatever. And 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 one of the things that actually helped me was my ability, number one, to speak in front of people, because I could train, I can work with people, but also one of the gifts I think that I have is I see the big picture. I see the things from a big picture level, and then I can help whittle down to the details. And when working with the leader, oftentimes that whole paradigm of what's happening at the high level, but then what do we need to do, like feet on the ground level, is what's important to someone. And so if someone's working through a problem, working through an issue, it's difficult to see sometimes for a leader or an individual, am I the problem in this issue? Or is there problems within my team? Are there problems within the organization? And then not only identifying that, but then figuring out, what do I actually do about that? And for me, I have, and I think I get this from my mom, to be honest. You shout out to mama. Uh, is that
A
I always feel like I could figure something out. So presenting with, if someone presented a problem with, I could figure something out. So that whole thought process that you were just saying about how your gifts will make room for you, that's not something that I was taught. I feel like it's something that was, part of, that I learned from, like I said, learned from mom, learned from experiences that I had in my life. I brought that all to the table. And so you can imagine a 25-year-old sitting in the same room at the same table, or training people that were twice my age, twice my experience, but helping them understand what they can do to improve their performance as a leader. I mean, that gift makes room for you. And it served me throughout my career. And I think that's not only for me, but I think it's for every individual out there. When you allow those things to shine through, it will begin to open doors for you. So finding that out and then trusting the process is key to success.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, with all this great, valuable information and much more, I had to ask, what was the turning point? So, this is like going more into your story. So, you got all this, you're teaching people that's like,
Hmm.
times, your age, got all these masters and all these degrees. You like, sure, I can still do it though. But what was the turning point? It's like your favorite superhero movie where you have the person that's getting beat up and going through all these challenges and things like that, and you're just watching the movie and like, come on, get up, get up, get up. You see them getting picked on or they lost somebody and things like that. What was the turning point that made you be like, that's it, it's time for a change. It's time for me to make the adjustment and put my life in the right direction.
The funny thing for me is it depends on what point in my life you ask that question.
It was multiple, huh?
No, and it's not like I came from a rough background or anything like that. It just, I was always, for me, I was always someone that had good examples in front of me. And really that started with my parents. My parents always worked hard, provided for my brothers and I, set a good example. I had good mentors and coaches throughout my life, and in each, I think life is sometimes broken down into seasons of your life. And in every season, I think there's also sometimes either an event or an individual or group of individuals that help shape that season. And so if you think of, me as at my stage now, and you talk about a turning point, it's that realization that, you know I got this. For me is, you get to the middle of your career and the things that you do, and you become more confident and those types of things, but that doesn't happen overnight. you know it
Oh
is
no.
it is kind of a process in what you do, and when you begin to have some wins. And so, one of the things, if you want to, kind of a really specific story, and this kind of contributes to my outlook. Right before I got into this field, I had an accident where I tore every ligament in my left leg, in my left knee. And I had three surgeries. This is long story short. Three
Yeah.
surgeries, had to have it replaced. My left leg was about the size of my arm at one point. And so, from the thigh down, I mean, it was literally that small. But it was a rehab process, and it was a big setback, a real turning point in my life. But what I realized through that process, because the way my doctor explained it to me, is that I was, going one direction. I could be crippled for the rest of my life and have problems, or, I mean, and he was like, it was almost 50-50 chance of what can happen. And I had to figure out what I needed to do in order to have what I wanted. And this was my experience. Everyone has different types of experiences. And, when I started out having one leg the size of an arm and one regular size, going
Like
through
something's wrong. Like
rehab, yeah, I had to decide how I'm going to attack the problem that I wanted? How am I going to figure this out? How am I going to work through this? And I had to, I would go to physical therapy in the morning, physical therapy or then go to the gym in the evening and do work on my own. And so I became really dedicated to there. And what I learned through that experience, and let me just say today, I can my leg's not the size of my arm. I have no trouble walking or anything like that. But what I learned through that process is that even when you have that a major setback like that, and oftentimes when I work with individuals, it is when, we're having a challenge, we're having a problem. It's about how do you get your mindset in the right place to begin to attack the issues that are in front of you, because a lot of it is mindset. Because I could have been discouraged when my exercise routine was sit on this stool and with your left leg try to pull yourself forward. The stool with wheels, try to pull yourself forward. I could have I could have got discouraged with that. Or when I couldn't walk through grass because it was too uneven. So getting that right mindset, and that translates throughout your life. So when I think about just your own motivation and having turning points in your life, it is really thinking about what can I learn from those experiences, and how can those things help continually to move me forward.
I like that. And then as soon as I had to make sure I looked at his name so I got the right person. But as soon as you said like attacking your mindset, the first person that came to mind, I had to make sure I got it correct, was David Goggins.
Hmm.
You ever heard of him?
Yeah, I have actually.
Yes. When it comes to like pushing through pain or anything like that, yeah, that is definitely your guy. And what he really is strong on is if you can put in your mind seeing yourself achieving greatness, or like even when your body is saying like no I'm done, but you putting in your mind no we're not done, you can obtain or achieve the impossible. And that's where you
Yes.
got to really get that, like if you really think about like any person who achieved anything great in history, is they put in their mind that they can achieve
Hmm.
things. Like I can use like an example of Steve Jobs, how people were like, man, this dude is crazy out of his mind, but we all here walking around with either like Apple products, Maxi, or
I may
even
get the new one. Who knows?
or even further, like there was a time where I can just imagine someone was like on top of a hill, just watching around, looking like, one day I'm going to soar the clouds with the birds. And I guarantee the person was like, are you out your mind? So we were not made like that. I,
Yeah.
I can jump a couple feet in the air,
Yeah.
but I'm not doing that. And like, watch me. And it just
Yeah.
takes that just in your mind.
Yeah. I really love that line of thinking. And um I mean, kind of that's like, if you say like one of the things that's core to my belief, core to what I do is, you got to see yourself there. You got to see, because if you don't see yourself there, you're never going to get there. You don't know what it looks like. You don't know what it feels like. You don't know you haven't experienced it yet. And if you hadn't experienced it yet, even just in your mind, it's hard to get your mind shift there, because you want to think in life, what do I want and what do I don't want? I want, in my case, I had an accident. I want to be able to walk and be healthy and all that. I don't want to be having trouble walking and things like that. So what do I need to do that? And so for your listeners, they may say, I want to be able to start a business, provide for my family. I don't want to struggle and not to do that, and not being able to pay my bills or those things, or be discouraged all the time. So how do I begin to move towards what I want? And it all, I say you have to decide early and often. And what I mean by that is early on in the process of a pursuit of a goal, a dream, or desire, you have to decide that you're going to have the mindset to get there. But then, because there is life, and then like 2020 will say, there is COVID, you have to make that decision again and again and again, because when you make that decision, it keeps your mindset on the things that you want, in the future, rather than just getting set on what you see around you right now.
Well put. So, like as we get closer to the end, I want you to tell the audience about your business and your services, and how you help people transform their lives for the better, and how you actually help them overcome either fear, doubts, and things like that. Just how you just transform lives. So, this is your time to shine. Go ahead and take over.
Well, I mean, and I would just say, if you like the things that I've been saying so far, I mean, that's one of the main ways that I help you lead people, especially if you lead an organization, a group of people. Uh, I believe in high performance leadership. Leaders play a pivotal role in the lives of so many people, and what I feel my job is to help equip leaders with the skills to build high performing teams, high performing organizations. And not only that from a leadership standpoint, but from a life standpoint, because in life, in leadership, you want to live in an exceptional life, and be an exceptional leader. And that's what I really help people do. And I do that everything through coaching, training, courses. One of the ways that you can kind of reach out to me is of course on social media. I'm the Orson Wells on social media, but then also at my website, theorsonwells.com. You can find me there. But to those of you that would say that you know leadership is such a tremendous responsibility, I don't take it lightly, leading an organization. And oftentimes, because think of the groups of people that you may have led in your life, leaders that you work for. They impact you as an individual, but in turn you impact the families of those people that they're leading. And so I help leaders create their life, their leadership skills in an exceptional format, so that they can lead people more effectively. They can accomplish goals, and the people that they're following can also accomplish their goals. And so, yeah, so if you want to reach out to me, I do encourage you to do that.
Awesome, awesome, and well said. So, as we wrap things up, I wanted you to go ahead and drop the mic. What closing statements or anything that you want to leave the audience? I know you already dropped the social media, so I have to ask for that.
Well, I thought that's what you were asking for.
No, that's
No,
awesome. You already ready. You like, I'm ready. I'm all ready. Well,
well,
leave
the only
on closing words.
yeah, the thing that I would just leave with your audience is to live a life of intention. And I think that's what we've been talking about since we've been on, is that you've got to decide early and often, and live with intention. A lot of times people just let life happen to them, and you just, oh, whatever comes, whatever happens, whatever might happen, those good opportunities just might come and happen to me. I don't think that works. I think you have to put intention out there, and you have to go after what you intend to create, because I think God made us as creative beings, and we can create the future that we want. And so I encourage all your listeners to go out and create an exceptional life.
Great, great, great. So again, thank you for being the guest on the show. It's your host,
Thank
Chris
you.
Holmes. Yes, you're welcome, welcome. As we help people uplift and take it to the next level. And then again, I have my special guest by the name of
Orson Wells.
Awesome, awesome. Make sure you hit that bell, subscribe, share, comment, and keep things going, because we want to see you elevate and start living your dreams. And again, take it to the next level. It's your host, Chris Holmes. Peace and much love.